We have a crazy Mike Tomlin trade idea from a former NFL quarterback to break down today, as well as Martavis Bryant. He's attempting an NFL comeback. Could the Steelers consider bringing him back to the Steel City? And then also I have the latest on George Pickens and the recent drama going around him on IG. But before we get into these news and rumors, do me a favor. If you are a true YINZER and you're a real one here at Steelers Talk, kick us off today by liking today's show. We're kicking off today's show with a crazy scenario from former NFL quarterback Kurt Benkert on Twitter. He's now a Twitter and YouTube personality, and he suggested on X the other day that Pittsburgh should trade Mike Tomlin to the Las Vegas Raiders and then go sign Jim Harbaugh, Michigan Wolverines head coach, to be their next coach here in the Steel City. This is what Benkert had to say on his X account last week. I would love to see Mike Tomlin traded as head coach to the Raiders and Jim Harbaugh leave Michigan to go become the Steelers head coach. Two Harbaughs in the AFC North, and Tomlin being able to bring his brand of football and leadership to the Raiders in another dimension, maybe. So this is just absolutely ridiculous from Kurt here. I mean, respect to him. I think he's a really good personality on YouTube. He's very informative. If you want to go check him out, you absolutely can. I highly recommend it. But this is ridiculous from Benkert right here. Plain and simply, man, there's no freaking way the Pittsburgh Steelers end up making this move, especially because right now, Mike Tomlin is arguably the leader, is arguably the coach of the year right now, guys. Like, this guy is 5-3, and his offense has been outgained in all 8 football games. That is cultivating a winning culture here in Pittsburgh. Obviously, he doesn't have the right offensive coordinator, but I look at Mike Tomlin right now, and I see an excellent leader of men. I see somebody that coaches a team to really be mentally tough and not blink and be extremely mentally tough and pull out these close football games. And then I also see a really great defensive mind. So for all these people out here in Steelers Nation that say, Tomlin is the head coach, he's responsible for it all, let's get rid of him, I understand that it's his responsibility to hire and fire coaches. And he's had some bad coaches over the last several years, right? Pat Meyer right now, the offensive line coach, straight up garbage, needs to be replaced. Matt Canada, the offensive play caller right now, straight up garbage, needs to be replaced. I completely concede that point. But you look at what a head coach is supposed to do. Lead a locker room and dominate their side of the football. Mike Tomlin has absolutely done that. So let's address the real issue here, man. Let's address the root issue, which is the offensive play calling. Get a different offensive coordinator in there. Get somebody from the Shanahan tree. Get Josh McDaniels. Get somebody other than Matt Canada in here so that Mike Tomlin and his leadership ability can really shine through. And let me tell you guys, if you end up replacing Mike Tomlin with, say, a Jim Harbaugh or somebody else, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and I really don't think that would be the case if you ended up trading away Mike Tomlin. But let me know who you guys would rather have as the Steelers head coach. Would you rather have Mike Tomlin? Type MT. Or if you'd rather have Jim Harbaugh from the Michigan Wolverines, type JH down there in the comment section. And this is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by typing an MT or JH down there in the comment section. All right, now let's shift over to Martavis Bryant here, former wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's been out of the league since 2018, currently trying to come back to the National Football League. And he actually has a workout today with the Dallas Cowboys. And apparently he's been drawing interest from, quote unquote, a number of teams around the league. When Martavis was here in Pittsburgh from 2014 through 2016, or 2017, I should say. 2016, he was suspended, just to keep you guys in the loop there. He got about 3.5 catches per game for 53.3 yards per game, had 17 touchdowns over the span of 3 seasons. Again, 2016, he was suspended, and then his catch percentage was 54.3, was able to corral about half the throws put in his direction. And, you know, personally, I know this is a very popular stance to bring back Martavis Martin. It's a great story. Somebody that's been out of the league since 2018, coming back and then potentially having a very successful and fruitful end of his NFL career would be a great story, and it would be a great Steelers story to bring him back here. But I would probably pass on Martavis Martin right now. There's other wide receivers on the free agency market that I'd probably rather have at this point. And there's specifically one wide receiver that I think I would go and target right now if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers. Martavis Martin is not somebody. Martavis Bryant, Coop is telling me in my ear, just isn't a fit for this team right now. In my opinion, he'd be a bench player. I don't think this is the opportunity that he's looking for. I know that it's a very popular idea on Steelers Twitter right now, but personally, I'm going to pass. And I would actually maybe go out and get a wide receiver other than Martavis Bryant moving forward. I'll tell you guys who that is here in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at GameTime. And let me tell you, man, this is the only ticketing app that I use on my phone. I used to be somebody that goes on a bunch of different ticketing apps looking for the best price, spending a bunch of time trying to find the lowest price ticket for like an MLB baseball game or an NBA basketball game. I no longer have that issue because GameTime is absolutely fantastic. Let me tell you, man, this app is super easy to use. They've got the lowest price guarantee. They've got flash deals right before game time. So if you're like me and you're somebody that wants to get tickets kind of last minute for whether it be a concert, whether it be a baseball game, whether it be a basketball game, anything that you can buy tickets for, they're going to have extremely low price tickets for you guys. Again, lowest price guarantee. So it's the only ticketing app that you need to have on your phone. Again, a super easy to use app with 360-degree views of your seats before you buy. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, people. So buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through that pesky email of yours. Snag the tickets without the stress with GameTime today. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. One word, all caps, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat. One word, all caps, for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, if the Steelers were to target a wide receiver, I don't think they're going to for the record, but if they were, I would rather go out and get Jarvis Landry over Martavis Bryant. All right, I think that Jarvis Landry would fit better with what the Steelers currently need right now because on the outside, you got Diontae Johnson. You've got George Pickens, right? But in the slot, you could definitely use somebody, a veteran presence, a very tenacious slot receiver like Jarvis Landry in there because Allen Robinson, let's face it, man, he's been slow. He's not getting out of his breaks real well right now. Obviously, the Rams wanted to get rid of him for a reason at this point. And although it was a good idea to bring him in, see if he was still a decent wide receiver, and if any team in the league was going to make something out of Allen Robinson, it would have been the Steelers. But let's face it, man, he hasn't lived up to the hype. Calvin Austin III, I mean, I like him a bit. He's a great deep threat, but he's not much in terms of a blocker from the slot. Steelers like slot wide receivers that can block, and Jarvis Landry is the type of guy that can provide that. Martavis Bryant is somebody that, I don't really see playing in the slot. He's more of a true X wide receiver, so he'd be more of a backup to George Pickens at this point. If you're going to go get a wide receiver, get somebody that you can actually use on the field this year. In my opinion, Jarvis Landry is that dude. And speaking of George Pickens, let's shift over to him now, where, of course, he had kind of a tirade on Instagram after Thursday night's win versus the Tennessee Titans. He had a touchdown opportunity that he kind of blew. He wasn't targeted as much as Diontae Johnson. The run game was more of the focus on Thursday night. And he went on IG and he said, "Free me." He deleted everything on his Instagram of him associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He unfollowed the team on Instagram, the whole 9 yards, kind of a classic temper tantrum from an NFL wide receiver. But when it comes to George Pickens, I said last Friday that he's probably going to be fine. This is just a little bit of a tantrum, but in the end, I think he's going to be okay. And it seems like that's going to be the case moving forward because he has refollowed the team on Instagram now. He has put team content back on his page, even put up a new highlight film of him and Kenny Pickett. So it seems like everything is good on George's end for now. But I will say this, guys. If Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett continue to ignore him moving forward in this season, I wouldn't put it past George Pickens to demand a trade out of Pittsburgh this offseason. That cannot happen. I cannot stress that enough. Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada, Find a way to make George Pickens happy in this offense, or else you risk losing him, because this guy, I think, has shown that he's a little bit of a wild card, right? He's a little bit of a gasoline tank next to a pile of matches there. You don't want that to blow up this offseason. You want George Pickens on your football team, because this is one of the more talented receivers in the National Football League. And if you're Kenny Pickett, you're a quarterback of this team, you want Pickens as your number one wide receiver moving forward. You better prioritize getting him the football. So now predict for me, what's going to happen? Will George Pickens demand a trade out of Pittsburgh within the next 3 seasons? Is he the next Antonio Brown? Type yes or type no. Let me know how you're feeling down there in the comment section. Now, before I go, I do have some final Steelers news items to cover with Yins today. Starting off with Cole Holcomb, who, of course, suffered a brutal knee injury. We've talked about it a lot here on the show as of late. He was officially sent to the IR by the Pittsburgh Steelers today, and they replaced his spot on the 53-man roster. We speculated that it could be a free agent, but it's actually going to be Anthony McFarland Jr., the third-string running back and kickoff return man, who is going to be coming off IR this week. He's going to be playing against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. It's good to have McFarland back, and, it's a nice little easy transition here with Cole Holcomb out for the year. And then also, the AFC North is definitely a bloodbath right now, people. Seriously, look at these records. All 4 of these teams, by the way, are currently in the AFC playoff picture. All these teams are playoff teams right now. The Ravens are cruising at 7-2. By the way, Steelers beat them. Then you got the Cleveland Browns sitting at 5-3. Steelers beat them. And then Cincinnati Bengals right now, that's really the insurgent team. Cincinnati might be the best overall team in the AFC right now, and they're technically last in the AFC North right now. That's absolutely incredible. This is an incredible division. And what this means right here, because this division is just as good as we thought it was going to be heading into the year, the Steelers can't let up. They cannot take their foot off the gas pedal at this point, and they need to continue to fill in the win column, especially against teams like Green Bay, especially with teams like Cleveland coming up here in the next 2 weeks. You have to win these football games. If you do so, you're pretty much a playoff lock. And that's really great for this franchise. But if you lose and you start putting together, stacking up losses here, you're going to fall by the wayside, because this division is damn good. And really, it could all come crumbling to the ground extremely fast here in Pittsburgh if you don't continue your winning ways moving on in the 2023 season. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Where will the Steelers finish in the AFC North at the end of the season? Will they win the division championship? Type 1. Think they get to second place, keep where they are, give me a 2. Or if you think they fall a little bit, give me a 3 or 4 down there in the comments section. And that'll be it for me today, Yinzers. Really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button for more Steelers news and rumors coverage throughout the week leading up to Sunday's watch party versus the Green Bay Packers. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.